Peace be upon you. My name's Johanse Trillion. This is Far As I Can Tell, episode 13. Jesus, the Prequel. Yeah, man. Well, we know now that he's really Michael. He's been Michael this whole time. It's probably the name that's run the most throughout this series, and rightfully so. He's the sovereign of this local universe that we occupy. But he's a lot more. And I mean, growing up, yeah, everybody's heard his name, Jesus. And we've heard different things, like what it signifies to you and somebody else, probably two different things. But we've all heard his name before. And growing up, I guess the image never really vibed with me. And a lot of other people, mainly the image. And, some of the game was there if you listen, but the image was off-putting. And then when you factor in a whole bunch of other things, like how we came up, us as a people, what we've been through, a lot of people have a disdain for this being. But these people probably, like me, didn't know the half. Don't know the eighth. He's not who we've been told. He's a lot more, and then some. But I call this the prequel because he had a long life before he came to this earth and did what he did, which after this, probably gonna take up the bulk of the series from here on out. Because there's a very detailed biography about him within these papers. Very detailed. And I mean, they don't leave nothing to chance. Everything is uncovered and will be revealed. But before he got here, he had a whole life for a long time. And we finna get into it. This paper 119, The Bestowals of Christ Michael. Yeah, now some of it off top is dense. And as a side note, man, as that says, it's paper 119. And this whole series, bro, I didn't start from the beginning of how these papers are ordered because it would just be too much. Like, even though it's a good read from front to back and it's put together in the right way, just, I don't know, with the state of the world, we have to jump into it and jump into some things that more, the public can easily grasp. All that to say, I gotta skip around a lot in these papers because some concepts that might have been introduced in other papers we didn't go over yet. And, people will be lost more so than they are already because this is heavy. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna skip around some as much as I can. But man, let me get into this. Paper 119, The Bestowals of Christ Michael. Chief of the evening stars of Nebadon, I am assigned to Urantia by Gabriel on the mission of revealing the story of the 7 bestowals of the universe sovereign, Michael of Nebadon, and my name is Gavalia. In making this presentation, I will adhere strictly to the limitations imposed by my commission. That's how they kick this off. The attribute of bestowal is inherent in the paradise sons of the universal Father, in their desire to come close to the life experiences of their subordinate living creatures, the various orders of the paradise sons are reflecting the divine nature of their paradise parents. So, the attribute of bestowal is inherent. Michael is known as a paradise son. That's his order of being. And they come forth from paradise, which we've established is almost infinitely far, but still attainable. And this is where they come forth from, because he's not the only one. There's several Michaels throughout creation, but what they do is start universes. And so they have the same attributes, creative attributes, as the Father. And so but the whole point of bestowal missions is to come close to the life experiences of their subordinate living creatures. Yo, I really be tripping, off the order that this implies throughout these papers. Like, the order that is implied it's like, wow, man, it's astounding, for real. Now, we live under all sorts of different order. Whoever you are, whatever you find yourself, whatever station in life, you're living in this planet up under some sort of order. Everybody is answering to something, beings or institutions of some sort. And this is just on the level of man. Now, just think. I mean, you really got to zoom out, man, and just contemplate the order that must exist in this universe that we live in. It's got to be some type of order. It's no other way possible. And for so long, we haven't learned it. And so when you come across this and just see, like, damn, this really is structured in a way, and all the detail that goes into it is crazy, man. But all that to say, Michaels have to have the experience of a creature. They're subordinate creatures in order to rightfully rule. And that make all the sense in the world and make me love this universe even more. Like, it's some shit, bro. Now I'm gonna skip down a little bit. When the eternal Son bestows, and I'm gonna just say, man, it's Father, Son, and Spirit throughout creation. It's a Trinity. How this all operates and comes from. That's how it is, man. That's just how it's set up. So the Son is an attribute of this Trinity, and creator sons come forth from this Son and this Trinity. When the eternal Son bestows a creator Son upon a projected local universe, that creator Son assumes full responsibility for the completion, control, and composure of that new universe, including the solemn oath to the eternal Trinity not to assume full sovereignty of the new creation until his 7 creature bestowals have been successfully completed and certified by the Ancients of Days of the super universe of jurisdiction. This obligation is assumed by every Michael's son who volunteers to go out from paradise to engage in universe organization and creation. So they make a solemn oath that they will not claim to be full sovereigns of their universe that they created until they complete 7 different bestowal missions of a descending order of creature. The purpose of these creature incarnations is to enable such creators to become wise, sympathetic, just, and understanding sovereigns. These divine sons are innately just, but they become understandingly merciful as a result of these successive bestowal experiences. They are naturally merciful, but these experiences make them merciful in new and additional ways. These bestowals are the last steps in their education and training for the sublime task of ruling the local universes in divine righteousness and by just judgment. It's a lot of reading for this particular paper. Like, I'm gonna be skipping around a little bit. Excuse. Though numerous incidental benefits accrue to the various worlds, systems, and constellations, as well as to the different orders of universe intelligences affected and benefited by these bestowals, still, they are primarily designed to complete the personal training and universe education of a creator son himself. So, yes, everybody's going to benefit when in all these bestowals. You feel me? Like this world benefited from him eventually coming here for his seventh bestowal, and any other part of creation that he completed a bestowal mission, they're immediately benefited by it. I mean, this is the creator of this universe incarnated as whatever being you are. So he's functioning in an ideal life in these different orders of sonship that exist out here. But even though everybody else benefits, this is still specifically for the creator to rule justly. These bestowals are not essential to the wise, just, and efficient management of a local universe, but they are absolutely necessary to a fair, merciful, and understanding administration of such a creation, teeming with its varied forms of life and its myriads of intelligent but imperfect creatures. The Michael sons begin their work of universe organization with a full and just sympathy for the various orders of beings whom they have created. They have vast stores of mercy for all these differing creatures, even pity for those who err and flounder in the selfish mire of their own production. But such endowments of justice and righteousness will not suffice in the estimate of the ancients of days. We've talked about that order of being before. Ancients of days, they rule pretty much from the super universe standpoint. Michael is a creator of a local universe, and this local universe that Michael creates exists within the realm of a super universe, one of seven. Ours is named Orvonton, and the ancients of days are pretty much at the top of the hierarchy when it comes to the ruling of a super universe. I mean, that sound like somebody. The ancients of days. These triune rulers of the super universes will never certify a creator son as universe sovereign until he has really acquired the viewpoint of his own creatures by actual experience in the environment of their existence and as these very creatures themselves. In this way, such sons become intelligent and understanding rulers. They come to know the various groups over which they rule and exercise universe authority. By living experience, they possess themselves of practical mercy, fair judgment, and the patience born of experiential creature existence. The local universe of Nebadon is now ruled by a creator son who has completed his uh, who has completed his service of bestowal. He reigns in just and merciful supremacy over all the vast realms of his evolving and perfecting universe. Man, listen now. Michael of Nebadon is the 611th, 121st bestowal of the eternal Son upon the universes of time and space, and he began the organization of your local universe about 400 billion years ago. Michael made ready for his first bestowal adventure about the time Urantia was taking on its present form 1 billion years ago. That's very, very heavy. Let's unpack this a little bit. Michael of Nebadon is the 611, 121, 121 first bestowal. 611,000 Michaels before him, basically. 611,000 before him. And he started the organization of this local universe about 400 billion years ago. That's what they say. He made ready for his first bestowal adventure about the time Urantia was taking on its present form 1 billion years ago. Now, this book, I skipped over, like I said, I didn't start from the beginning, and this covers so much. But they talk about the formation of this world from the scientific standpoint. How it was flung out the sun, and how the sun basically came out of a bigger nebula. They get into it very detailed. So when they say when this world took on its present form, they just saying, by the time it got to where it was inhabitable, basically. Well, it wasn't inhabitable like it is now. They really mean form, like cooling off, being a sphere and all that. But I don't want to get too deep into it. But damn, that was 1 billion years ago, and this is the time around his first bestowal. So he started this local universe 400 billion years ago, and 1 billion years ago, he started his first bestowal mission. His bestowals have occurred about 150 million years apart, the last taking place on Urantia 1900 years ago. Really, almost 2,000 plus years ago, because they're referring back from like 1934. So I will now proceed to unfold the nature and character of these bestowals as fully as my commission permits. 1. The first bestowal. It was a solemn occasion on Salvington being the capital of Nebadon, almost 1 billion years ago, when the assembled directors and chiefs of the universe of Nebadon heard Michael announce that his elder brother, Emmanuel, would presently assume authority in Nebadon while he would be absent on an unexplained mission. No other announcement was made about this transaction except that the farewell broadcast to the Constellation Fathers, another order of being, among other instructions, said, "And for this period I place you under the care and keeping of Emmanuel while I go to do the bidding of my Paradise Father." After sending this farewell broadcast, Michael appeared on the dispatching field of Salvington. They say the dispatching field. You got to use your imagination with this too now. Just as on many previous occasions, when preparing for departure to Uversa, which is the capital of our super universe, or paradise, except that he came alone. So he appears on this dispatching field of Salvington. I guess this is where you depart and go to different realms. Like he normally would either be on this dispatching field to make a visit to paradise or to Uversa, which is the capital of our super universe. So just picture that. He concluded his statement of departure with these words: I leave you but for a short season. Many of you, I know, will go with me, but whither I go, you cannot come. That which I am about to do, you cannot do. I go to do the will of the paradise deities, and when I have finished my mission and have acquired this experience, I will return to my place among you. And having thus spoken, Michael of Nebadon vanished from the sight of all those assembled and did not reappear for 20 years of standard time. In all Salvington, only the divine minister, of course, another high order of being, and Emmanuel knew what was taking place, and the union of days shared his secret only with the chief executive of the universe, Gabriel, the bright and morning star. All the inhabitants of Salvington and those dwelling on the constellation and system headquarters worlds assembled about their respective receiving stations for universe intelligence, hoping to get some word of the mission and whereabouts of the Creator Son. So, this is a big deal, a huge deal. And they just said certain beings are gathered about receiving stations, I guess, where communications take place, and they receive different communications trying to get word of where is the Creator's son, Michael, the ruler of this whole universe. Where'd he go? Not until the third day after Michael's departure was any message of possible significance received. On this day, a communication was registered on Salvington from the Melchizedek sphere, the headquarters of that order in Nebadon, which simply recorded this extraordinary and never before heard of transaction. At noon today, there appeared on the receiving field of this world a strange Melchizedek son, not of our number, but wholly like our order. He was accompanied by a solitary, I don't even know how you say this, omniaphim. That's a very high ranking angel he was accompanied by a solitary omniaphim who bore credentials from Uversa and presented orders addressed to our chief, derived from the ancients of days and concurred in by Emmanuel of Salvington. I don't want to. I mean, I know this is getting like a bit much, man. They are very specific and orderly, evidently, with how they do things. But basically, he showed up on a world that the Melchizedeks come from, where they are trained, where they inhabit. Like it's their headquarters world. Michael showed up as a Melchizedek. This was his first bestowal mission, and he showed up on the world of Melchizedeks as a Melchizedek. So basically, he had the right credentials. They enlisted him in the order, and he began to work. So and this is about all that appears on the records of Salvington regarding the first Michael bestowal. Nothing more appears until after 100 years of Urantia time, when there was recorded the fact of Michael's return and unannounced resumption of the direction of universe affairs. But a strange record is to be found on the Melchizedek world, a recital of the service of this unique Melchizedek son. So again, I don't want to get too technical, man, and lose people. This is paper 119. You could definitely read it, but I know this might be a bit much. But in short, see, luckily we've gone over all these different orders of being already. And I mean, you can listen to the Melchizedek episode to find out more about a Melchizedek. But as far as rank is concerned, they're very high ranking beings throughout our local universe. And so his first bestowal mission in this descending order of sonship was as a Melchizedek. That's the short of it. And so they go on to give a message like, basically, in short, he was the best Melchizedek they ever had. And they didn't particularly know it was Michael at that time. They didn't know. And so I'm going to read this last paragraph, I guess. And that is all I am permitted to tell you of the first bestowal of Michael. We, of course, fully understand that this strange Melchizedek, who so mysteriously served with the Melchizedeks 1,000,000,000 years ago, was none other than the incarnated Michael on the mission of his first bestowal. The records do not specifically state that this unique and efficient Melchizedek was Michael, but it is universally believed that he was. Go on down. So that was his first bestowal. Part two, the second bestowal. For almost 150 million years after the Melchizedek bestowal of Michael, all went well in the universe of Nebadon when trouble began to brew in System 11 of Constellation 37. This trouble involved a misunderstanding by a Lanonandek son. Remember, I went over what a Lanonandek son is. Lucifer was a Lanonandek son. Satan was a Lanonandek son. They were primary Lanonandek sons. Caligastia, the devil, was a Lanonandek son of the secondary order. So, in this descending order of sonship, you got Michael, you got Gabriel, you got Melchizedek. Now you got Lanonandek's son. There was trouble began to brew in System 11 of Constellation 37. This trouble involved a misunderstanding by a Lanonandek's son, a system sovereign, which had been adjudicated by the Constellation Fathers and approved by the Faithful of Days, the Paradise Counselor to that constellation. But the protesting system sovereign was not fully reconciled to the verdict. So basically, there's law and order out here in this universe, and this particular system sovereign didn't really care for a particular judgment, a verdict that was made against him. After more than 100 years of dissatisfaction, he led his associates in one of the most widespread and disastrous rebellions against the sovereignty of the Creator's Son ever instigated in the universe of Nebadon, a rebellion long since adjudicated and ended by the action of the Ancients of Days on Uversa. So yeah, this was a rebellion that took place a long time ago that Michael had to deal with. This rebel system sovereign, this is his name, Lutentia, reigned supreme on his headquarters planet for more than 20 years of standard Nebadon time, whereupon the Most Highs, with approval from Uversa, ordered his segregation and requisitioned the Salvington rulers for the designation of a new system sovereign to assume direction of that strife-torn and confused system of inhabited worlds. Basically, the powers that be are getting him out of there. Simultaneously with the reception of this request on Salvington, the capital of Nebadon, Michael initiated the second of those extraordinary proclamations of intention to be absent from the universe headquarters for the purpose of, quote, doing the bidding of my paradise father, end quote, promising to, quote unquote, return in due season, and concentrating all authority in the hands of his paradise brother Emmanuel, the Union of Days. So he was like, I'll go down there and make this my second bestowal mission. I'm gonna be this system sovereign. Um, and then by the same technique observed at the time of his departure in connection with the Melchizedek bestowal, Michael again took leave of his headquarters sphere. 3 days after this unexplained leave taking, there appeared among the reserve corps of the primary Lanonandek sons of Nebadon a new and unknown member. This new son appeared at noon, unannounced and accompanied by a lone, here's another angel, uh, accompanied by a lone Tertiaphim who bore credentials from the Uversa Ancients of Days certified by Emmanuel, directing that this new son be assigned to System 11 of Constellation 37 as the successor of the deposed Lutentia and with full authority as acting system sovereign pending the appointment of a new sovereign. So, man, in short, bro, these are like spiritual politics. There's a whole, just theater of spiritual politics at play up on high. For real, for real. it's, it's amazing. So, anyway, he took over as system sovereign for this rebellion, uh, this rebellion seared system. For more than 17 years of universe time, this strange and unknown temporary ruler administered the affairs and wisely adjudicated the difficulties of this confused and demoralized local system. No system sovereign was ever more ardently loved or more widespreadly honored and respected. In justice and mercy, this new ruler set the turbulent system in order while he painstakingly ministered to all his subjects, even offering his rebellious predecessor the privilege of sharing the system throne of authority if he would only apologize to Emmanuel for his indiscretions. But Lutentia spurned these overtures of mercy, well knowing that this new and strange system sovereign was none other than Michael. The very universe ruler whom he had so recently defied. But millions of his misguided and deluded followers accepted the forgiveness of this new ruler, known in that age as the savior sovereign of the system of Polonia. So yeah, man, I know, like I said, you really got to use your imagination. And not that this makes this fictional. I guess you either believe it or you don't. My thing is not to get too sidetracked. Like, I'm just trying to let y'all, kind of keep up because I know this is a lot to take in. At the same time, though, it's like, well, damn, there's nothing else out here that gives you any sort of cosmic identity, like where you really stand in the cosmos, like what type of immense detailed creation you belong to. And there's nothing out there that does that so thoroughly as these papers. So it's a lot to imagine, but damn, it's in outer space. Man don't know the half about it. And if it's a creator, why wouldn't he want to reveal to you what's really going on? Like, why wouldn't he want to be known? But yeah, man, I gotta say these are spiritual politics, and I, for one, can picture all this, and this shit makes sense to me. So basically, they were saying Michael in his second bestowal ended up being the best system sovereign the universe has ever seen. That's essentially what they saying. He eventually left. They had a great celebration for him, and he went on back. So I'm gonna skip on down to the bottom. And then did this transient ruler of a rebellious system take leave of the planet of his short administrative sojourn, while on the third day thereafter, Michael appeared on Salvington and resumed the direction of the universe of Nebadon. There soon followed the third Uversa proclamation of the advancing jurisdiction of the sovereignty and authority of Michael. Ah, that's heavy, man. Uversa again is the capital of our super universe. They're saying it was a proclamation that rang throughout, announcing like he's gaining on his sovereignty as an authority of his local universe. So it's a big deal. 3, the third bestowal. The Supreme Council on Salvington had just finished the consideration of the call of the life carriers on Planet 217 in System 87 and Constellation 61 for the dispatch to their assistance of a material sun. Now, this planet was situated in a system of inhabited worlds where another system sovereign had gone astray, the second such rebellion in all Nebanon up to that time. I know it sounds like these systems be getting off the chain, but it's only been 3 rebellions throughout Nebanon, and he's started this local universe uh 400 billion years ago. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of relative. Upon the request of Michael, action on the petition of the life carriers of this planet was deferred pending its consideration by Emmanuel and his report thereon. Man, they get very technical sometimes, and I'm trying to let y'all, keep up. But Michael proceeded to place universe direction in the hands of Emmanuel while he entrusted command of the celestial forces to Gabriel. And having thus disposed of his administrative responsibilities, he took leave of the universe mother spirit. That's another expression of deity, universe mother spirit, and vanished from the dispatching field of Salvington precisely as he had done on 2 previous occasions. So, in short, some people, some life carriers petitioned for a certain planet to receive a material sun. It's like the order of being that Adam was. He was a material son. So again, we done had a Melchizedek. He's bestowed himself as a Melchizedek. He's bestowed himself as a Lanonandek son. Now he's going to bestow himself on a planet that belongs to a system that's been a part of a rebellion, and he's going to be a material son, which is the same level of being that Adam is. That Adam and Eve are material sons and daughters. So, and as might have been expected, on the third day thereafter, there appeared unannounced on the headquarters world of System 87 in Constellation 61 a strange material son accompanied by a lone Seconophim, another sort of angel. Man, this is more technical jargon, but basically, let me skip down. But he was promoted, him being a material son on this new planet, the system sovereign of that system made him the planetary prince of this planet that he went to. That's another title. That's what the devil was considered, a planetary prince, Caligastia. So he came to this planet and became a planetary prince. Thus did this unique material son begin his difficult career on a quarantined world of secession and rebellion, located in a beleaguered system without any direct communication with the outside universe, working alone for one whole generation of planetary time. This emergency material son effected, let me skip down. So, in short, though, he was a material son, a planetary prince of a planet, um, and eventually was relieved from another material son and daughter, and he returned back to Salvington. And they don't give a lot of detail on this particular bestowal, and it's interesting. It's like they don't want you to know too much about life on another planet. I don't know, but check it. I regret that I do not have permission to narrate the patience, fortitude, and skill with which this material son met the trying situations on this confused planet. The reclamation of this isolated world is one of the most beautifully touching chapters in the annals of salvation throughout Nebadon. By the end of this mission, it had become evident to all Nebadon as to why their beloved ruler chose to engage in these repeated bestowals in the likeness of some subordinate order of intelligent being. The bestowals of Michael as a Melchizedek son, then as a Lanonandek son, and next as a material son are all equally mysterious and beyond explanation. In each instance, he appeared suddenly and as a fully developed individual of the bestowal group. Never since this marvelous bestowal as the planetary prince of a world in isolation and rebellion have any of the material sons or daughters in Nebadon been tempted to complain of their assignments or to find fault with the difficulties of their planetary missions. For all time, the material sons know that in the creator son of the universe, they have an understanding sovereign and a sympathetic friend, one who has, in quote, all points been tried and tested, end quote, even as they must also be tried and tested. Since this bestowal, no material son or daughter has ever knowingly joined in rebellion against Michael. They love and honor him too devotedly, too, they love and honor him too devotedly, ever consciously to reject him. Only through deception and sophistry have the atoms of recent times been led astray by higher types of rebel personalities. That is alluding to Adam and Eve being kind of ensnared by Caligastia on this planet. But they didn't willfully rebel with the Lucifer rebellion. They just got, finessed.